Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Robbie. I'm here, the host of this show tonight. It's May 10th, and we are on the eve of another NFL production. The NFL schedule release is set to take place tomorrow. We're going to break down who plays who gets prime time. We have some leaks early that we're going to get to, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before we do that, though, I'm going to welcome in our crew. We have Tom Sloan up in Detroit.
Good evening, Robbie. How you doing?
Hey, you are very Detroit-centric tonight. You got the Red Wings, the Tigers. There you go. I'm
proud
even
Detroiter.
on the eve of the schedule release. Where's the Lions gear?
Sadly, I don't own a whole lot of that, but that'll change this season, I'm sure.
And we also have Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, fellas?
Oh, doing fine. And we have Raj always joining us a little bit late, but he'll be here soon enough.
He has yet to enter the green room.
Yes. Raj has not entered the chat yet. Well, boys, let's just first talk about NFL and just their ability to do a schedule release special on ESPN during NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and there's going to be a lead up to it. It's going to be talked about and we talk about this a lot, but I mean, just what does it say that they can just say, hey, we're releasing our schedule? Brandon, what does it mean?
NFL is king, dude. I mean, they can take something so simple as just a schedule release and make it a production. And they'll probably get more views than, NHL playoffs.
100%.
Like it's crazy. Like, I don't understand. But, I'm going to tune in. I want to see it. And I don't know why. It's just like, this thing you can't shut down or shut off because that's all you want to hear about is NFL and the latest and what's going on. And then you start planning out your games. And if you're not a season ticket holder, which games do you want to go to? And so, for the NFL fan, it's somewhat of a big deal.
Yeah, I know. My wife calls me a sheep to the NFL. She's like, if they put it on TV, you're going to watch. And I mean,
yeah.
Tom, what do you think? What is the NFL's ability to do this? And we saw the draft got 54 million views for people watching other people's teams say their names. This has your team, who you're going to play. Just what does it say about their just status right now?
Well, they know they're number one. And like Brandon said, they're the king. And even on that last transition I put up, I put a crown on the logo because they are the king. Anything they put out will be the number one rated, probably sports program, maybe even program on TV in that time slot. It just shows you that there's such a demand. Football is 365 days a year now. It's not just a seasonal thing. Even though there's, two other kind of bootleg football leagues going on with the USFL and the XFL, NFL is king. And if you put that the schedule release up against even an XFL game, the release will dominate 100%. So
I think you could put NFL Live up against the XFL and USFL game, and it will win.
Yeah, it probably would. But unfortunately, Brandon's right. it'll do higher ratings than the NHL playoffs, which is kind of a travesty, but it just goes to show you where the state of the NFL is right now.
Yeah, and so we're this is going to lead into this, and this isn't something that we talked about, but it just came to mind. Like, so tomorrow night, ESPN has Celtics, Sixers, and Nuggets, Suns on. At what point ESPN pays the NFL $100 million a game for Monday Night Football? At what point are they like, hey, you're killed? Like, I know we're getting ratings here, but you're hurting our NBA. Like, I guess, is there a conflict? When does it become a conflict?
What you keep in mind too, the NFL Network will be broadcasting as well. So,
yeah.
Is it a smart move for ESPN to do what they're doing? I don't know. It's going to take away from the NBA coverage, and I think they look at it as long as there's eyes going to ESPN, they're going to look at it as a win-win for them.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's hurting ESPN at all. Like, I'd get that one night of a rating, I guess, versus the others, but these playoffs have been going on for a while, and they're going to continue to go on. A slight dock on one night, I don't think it's a big mishap, and I think they understand that. So, kind of a mutual agreement thing.
I am curious though why they didn't try to throw. I guess just no one has any negotiating power, but you would be interesting to see if, like, hey, the night Turner has it, maybe do your release party, but maybe it's just the NFL says this is our Thursday and we're doing it. But so in other negotiating power, guys, a big change coming to the way we and bars and most people are going to consume the NFL this weekend or this year. As most people know, DirecTV has had the exclusive rights to the Sunday NFL ticket. So when you go to a bar, when you go to anything, and all the games are on, that's who's broadcast. It comes through DirecTV. It has came as a hefty price, I believe. The last contract, DirecTV paid them $1 billion a year. They bid $1.5 billion. I believe these numbers are accurate. To renew the contract, YouTube TV came in and offered them $2 billion, and that's what it's sold on. So so here are the pricing, and this is so if you do not have YouTube, $449 after June 6th. So one of these deadlines are coming up quick. So if you're going to get it, here's a chance to save $100. So one, in the sports world, in the sports TV marketing, a lot, DirecTV was the powerhouse. They had the NBA package, the NFL ticket, NHL.
MLB.
They had MLB. They had everything, and slowly but surely, it's getting plucked away from them to where, they may just be the TV package with the most movie channels. I know I was a DirecTV subscriber for a long time. That changed probably 2 or 3 years ago. Tom, I guess, what does this say about, and I don't want to get into the finances of, what AT&T and DirecTV is, but specifically as it goes to sports, where does this put DirecTV?
I think it puts them right in the middle of everybody else, being that they had the exclusive rights to the Sunday ticket. And I think a lot of people chose to go with DirecTV because of that, myself included. So without having that, I think people will start to shy away from not only DirecTV, I think they'll shy away from, cable itself. I think you'll see a lot more cord cutters coming up. And for the simple fact that you'll be able to purchase the Sunday ticket without having the YouTube TV services, I think that'll lure a lot of people I'm not sure if YouTube thought that through 100%, because I think they would have been better off saying, well, you know what, you got to have YouTube TV to access Sunday Ticket. So I think they were going a different route than DirecTV was. I don't know if that'll last more than 1 year, but I think this will. It'll definitely probably cut me off from from DirecTV, which I currently have right now. So we'll probably eliminate that and go with another, whether it be YouTube TV or just go not, just with the apps that we have and do the Sunday Ticket by itself. So I think what it's going to do is it'll probably drop DirecTV down pretty far, and it's going to probably bring down a lot of other cable companies with it.
Yeah. And what I find interesting, and I don't know if they have the data, if they've thought about it, if this is just a guess, or if this is just me just thinking, it coincides with the data that is there that a lot of people are moving to different regions where they didn't live before. And so I know as someone who lived in Southern California, I had DirecTV just so I could watch Titans games, or I went to the bars just so I could watch Titans games. And with this mass relocation of people in different regions, now you can work remotely. Is that going to be a bigger factor? Brandon, what do you think about what does it say to DirecTV, and what are your thoughts on what I just said?
I think it is. Things are changing right now, and I think you see these companies starting to adapt to that. Now, I disagree with Tom a little bit on the fact I do actually like that YouTube TV allowed people to have that option without owning YouTube TV. So we saw this kind of before with the Amazon Prime Thursday nights only. Like you had to have Amazon Prime, to watch Thursday night games. And then there's just those people that were not going to get Amazon Prime or were anti-Amazon, whatever they are, that just weren't going to do it. But, without having to purchase YouTube TV, because some people are stuck in their ways, maybe they're huge DirecTV or Comcast or, whatever your local place is, and they like their setup and they don't want to change, but you can still purchase that. So I think that's a good option. Now, again, maybe Tom's right. Maybe it only lasts a year, but we'll see. I just like the fact that it is different and it is not like Amazon's, kind of product there. So, but yeah, to your point, to what you said, I think it is you're going to start seeing a lot more of these stream sides and people move that direction because you can watch it on a phone or an app or, move around and have it at your hand at any time.
Yeah. And Brandon, I think you made a great point, and I actually do agree with you. I don't know why I say I actually, like it's a shock, but sometimes I do agree with you. But I think you're right. I think people, let's take Comcast, for example. You can bundle their internet and cable and get it for cheaper. Mm-hmm. And so an add-on to the YouTube Sunday Ticket may make more sense than you paying for internet separately and YouTube TV separately and with the NFL package add-on. Right. So I think you're onto something where that. So like in certain regions, I know where we live in Chattanooga, EPB, it's a great internet service, and they have cable too, but Comcast can undercut them all the time because Comcast owns like 6 channels that EPB has to pay for, and it's these media rights thing. And so EPB has to operate at almost a loss in cable just to get them subscribed because Comcast they own TV channels. And so I think that's an interesting point you brought up. Hey Raj, you're only 16 minutes late tonight. That's 4 minutes times 4.
Yeah, I didn't really consider factorials on that one. It felt like 4 minutes, dude, I swear. But no, I was listening to the conversation and it was very interesting. I'm not sure if you guys talked about the plans, but no, it's please continue because I'm learning every second.
Yeah. So what? And I don't know if y'all have heard about this. So I know at my house, you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, like maybe 6 TVs or whatever, and I can only put so many devices on. I can only stream to so many without YouTube, the Google Chromecast. So I'm interested in what's going to happen in this bar setup. Are every bar TV going to have Chromecast? Are they going to have the TVs with Android TV or Google TV, whatever it's called now, built in? Because you know, before you'd order DirecTV, they just bring you boxes. Is Google going to send you Chromecast? I don't know. Have y'all heard about how for this? You take a sports bar with TVs wall to wall. How's it going to work? Actually, functionality. Tom?
It'll probably be a lot like how DirecTV did it. They based it upon the amount capacity of people. Yeah, the seating capacity in the bar. They're probably going to be similar situation to where there'll be a requirement to have at least a smart TV or some sort of a box.
Yeah.
That they'll whether Google sends them or they'll be responsible for getting. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, but I would venture to guess it's something very similar to what DirecTV did. Because I know it's a little different setup to where you just turn the TV on and boom, there it was, and now you have to, you know, log into your account and set up the game per TV. So it's going to be a little hairy the first couple of weeks of the season, I would imagine, in a lot of the establishments.
So I was being my traffic judge the other night, and I realized don't underestimate the need to explain simple things. You know, at the beginning I said, hey, if you're pleading guilty, come up. If you're pleading not guilty, we'll have a hearing after the fact. And I had this young kid come up, and he said, I read him what he was charged with, and he's like, I'm guilty. And then he came up with all of his proof that he wasn't guilty. And I'm like, well, why'd you plead guilty? He's like, that's just what everyone else was saying. And so it didn't occur to me to explain guilty means I did it, not guilty means I didn't do it. And that's a long way of saying, in case people don't know, we're using Google, YouTube TV, interchangeable. Obviously, YouTube owns YouTube TV. Google owns YouTube, and they're all subsidiaries. So just to clarify that. So Brandon, have you heard how it's going to work? I assume they're going to ship a Chromecast with your order.
I would think so, but you know, the reason they're doing that is to combat the sharing of passwords. And you know, you get a group of 16 buddies and everyone throws in and buys the package and everyone has the password. So I get that. You know, that's been a problem with these streaming networks, an issue, you know, since they've started. Everyone's sharing passwords, and they try to limit devices and what you can have. But, you know, like you said, you got 6 TVs. I mean, I've got, you know, 5 or 6 here, an iPad, an iPhone, you know, if you're flying or, you know, want to watch it somewhere. So I think it's going to be kind of a trial and error thing. You know, they're kind of going to fill it out and see how it goes this year. But the Chromecast thing makes sense. I think that would probably be their best, you know, bet to do that for someone that has multiple platforms.
So Raj, YouTube paid $2 billion per year for this package. I don't know if you heard our conversation about the NFL is releasing a schedule, and it's going to do more ratings than the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Overpay, underpay, just about right.
I mean, it's funny because, well, first of all, in that conversation we were just having, in the terms of use with Netflix and Prime, any commercial use of those streaming services is essentially against the terms of use. It's just not allowed. So YouTube TV is literally, and from my understanding, they don't have such bans, if you will, on use in terms of commercial use. So it seems like they can write their own law here, literally trailblazing in many different ways. considering DirecTV has been paying $1.5 billion per year, and
they were paying $1
billion.
They were paying $1 billion. They offered 1.5, and YouTube came to $2 billion.
Okay, and then I read here that DirecTV had been. This says it had been paying $1.5 billion in a year for the rights, losing about $500 million annually, which is interesting. And
if you have actual sites, I'm just coming up from memory when I read this a while ago. So yes, go ahead.
Well, if you notice, the YouTube TV business plan is basically designed around Red Zone, and it seems as if DirecTV was losing money because of Red Zone. And they were separate. Verizon had the rights for a while. If you remember, you could just get the Red Zone package.
Yeah.
They are clear in the 4 packages that they offer, with or without YouTube TV and Red Zone, with or without YouTube and Red Zone. So they've obviously learned from previous mistakes. They're going to make money. They're not stupid. We've talked about this. It's interesting to me that Amazon was the first to attempt as a streaming service NFL football, and they didn't do what it takes to win the rights. So I personally didn't love the streaming service, but that's just because of my challenging inability to pay attention to American nature, and I can't flip through stuff when I'm on a streaming service. But other than that, it seemed okay. I mean,
yeah. I think what Amazon, and Tom, I'm going to come to you in a second. My opinion is what Amazon did wrong is they paid a bunch of money for the Thursday night game, and they let the NFL give them the game. And so YouTube's just saying, no, we're getting it all, and we'll figure it out. Tom, you say you have the answer up. What's the answer?
Yeah, it says the NFL is partnering with Jerry Cardinale's Redbird Capital on a new venture that will offer NFL games to commercial venues like bars, restaurants, and hotels. The new company is called Everpass Media and has a multi-year license to sell the NFL's Sunday out-of-market TV packages, NFL Sunday Ticket. The NFL says it will be offered on a non-exclusive basis through all cable and satellite companies. So they'll be able to access it through whatever service they use in their establishment. So it will be separate from YouTube.
And this is interesting because when it comes to being a content creator, essentially you have to become your own LLC and license your own streaming service to play certain things in bars and restaurants at a time. And that's what I was wondering, Tom. That's interesting. So whoever this individual is has become that independent content creator, it appears. There's an entire field of law dedicated to this.
Yeah.
So hold on. So hypothetical, based on what you just said, if a bar still has DirecTV, this third party will come in and essentially connect DirecTV to YouTube's app and allow it to be streamed.
It's going to connect to the Everpass Media. It won't be YouTube based. So essentially it'll be just like they were with Sunday Ticket and DirecTV.
Well, where does YouTube TV come in?
Well, that's just the consumer version. So this one will be, like it said here, it will be offered on a non-exclusive basis through all cable and satellite TV companies. So it'll be a separate package that the bars will be able to purchase.
It's the legal bridge for commercial establishments, it appears.
Huh, that's interesting. I've not heard that. It's interesting.
Redbird Capital Partners.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. That answers your Chromecast question. Right, so now there's another avenue, but it's only commercial establishments. So still the local consumer has to go through the YouTube, whether you have it or not.
Well, that makes me rethink the whole deal then. If you're not making all the sports bars switch to YouTube, is $2 billion worth it?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, but obviously I'm sure this was disclosed before the deal came about, and they still felt pretty good about it. I said, I think the option not having YouTube TV and you can still buy it is enticing.
It is enticing. I just don't know. I don't know how beneficial it'll be for YouTube.
Sure. Yeah.
The fact that because it's $100 difference for
and that may
non-subscribers.
that may get people to switch over to YouTube. I mean, I've had YouTube for, I don't know, 5-6 years now and love it. Although they keep raising the prices every year, but as everyone else. But no, I mean, I'm anxious to see how this plays out because I think it's kind of a completely new take on doing this and incorporating that third party with the commercial application. I think is also pretty cool. So,
essentially. Yeah, so essentially what the bars are going to have to do is pay that non-subscriber price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it'll be more.
Yeah.
It'll be substantially more.
So that's why that makes another reason why the non-subscriber price is in there.
Yeah.
What I was listening to a Motley Fool podcast and they said the YouTube TVs really position themselves now to be to have it to be and I think I can already see it with the layout. They're modeling themselves to be like essentially the home screen of where all these apps live, like Hulu, Disney, Netflix. Like instead of searching for all of them, they're going to be parked in the YouTube TV app.
Yeah. Well, I know Verizon does that too. They have a all-in-one you can access from one screen.
Well, I wish I would have thought of being about that third-party connector. That's a good.
I mean, that third party has exclusive rights to distribute Sunday Ticket to anything commercial, bars, hotels, restaurants, and other commercial venues. So YouTube TV is just the residential aspect, which is fascinating. And I bet you the terms on the contract and the
but don't they still have to pay YouTube?
Not according to this. Only the NFL benefits. They sold the commercial right, from what I understand, exclusively to Everpass Media of Redbird Capital, whereas YouTube TV has the residential rights exclusively. It doesn't appear as if YouTube TV, unless there's some sort of, which there likely is, tie between them and Redbird Capital, which is interesting. Redbird.
Yeah.
Bay Area owners, it appears. We'll have to look more into this. And
this is a good. We need to dig more into this and kind of how it's gonna. Now that we've kind of started discussing it and seeing, like, okay, it is interesting.
It's become, as one of the Redbird partners said, a sports media ecosystem. The NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like a way for Google to try to not get busted up by being a monopoly. All right, so moving from football into something that we can actually see and understand, NBA playoffs going on. Raj, I know you and I will be up late tonight again because the NBA does not care about Eastern time zone when it comes to the Western Conference playoffs.
Are we allowed to swear on this one? Because if so, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm fucking dying, man. I was up at 4:30 this morning. Luckily, no Laker game last night, but it'll be another 1:30. Crimea River, first world problems, but you just can't not watch a playoff game, dude. Especially this series, right?
Yeah. This is the Warriors, Lakers. These are two of the all-time greats, all-time top 10, at least 15 players of all time going at it. And just great basketball. And you got AD, you got Draymond, Clay, even though he's kind of an MIA. But before we get to that, that's obviously the highlight tonight. Looks like Knicks are up 98-93 with 4 minutes left.
They're dead men walking.
Do you think the Knicks can hold on and get back to Miami?
Maybe. They don't deserve it. It's just inevitable. It's just a bad matchup. And Miami's far too athletic. They're far too deep. They can switch on everything. The Knicks have two bigs, and they're reactive. They're not like AD. They're not guys that change the game. They really sometimes do their best ball when they go small. And then they're a less athletic version of Miami. And you see a team working really hard for their looks. whereas Miami gets so many better looking, easier, higher percentage shots. And that's just because they have better players. I mean, no one on the Knicks can guard Jimmy buckets in space. You got a deeper bench that's plus $1 million with Lowry and Caleb Martin. And and that's even without Tyler Herro. So it's just a bad matchup for the Knicks. And if they win this game, I'd be shocked if Miami didn't close it out in 6.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Knicks are just pretty good. They're a good team, but there's no star, no one to match Butler.
No.
Brandon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is this on your radar, this series?
It was until the other night when the Heat kind of took over the series, and being down 3-1. I mean, they've got maybe a 8% chance of trying to win this series. They may pull this one out tonight, which I hope not, because I bet on the Heat. But if not, the Knicks are done. I mean, they're at like plus 1,800 to like win the championship right now. So there's no chance.
It is getting a little tight. I'm gonna flip on to live. Tom, what about you? You're more of an Eastern Conference basketball guy, anyways. Knicks, Heat. What's your interest level, and you think any chance of the Knicks to come back and make this thing interesting?
I mean, you got to look at the way Miami can shoot the ball, like Raj said. I don't think the Knicks can match that. Body-wise, they can with Julius Randle down the middle, and so they can play within 10 to 15 of the net. But Jimmy Butler, after that ankle, that I thought he was done, that he looked the coach in the eye and says, "Don't even think about taking me out." He played 8 minutes on one ankle. I think the team kind of jumped on his shoulders, and he's kind of a throwback. So he's a floor leader. I like their ability to run up and down the court. They just have more scoring. So as not the biggest NBA fan of the group, I do like what Miami has been able to do, minus Tyler Herro. I think if New York pulls this one out, they go back to Miami, and Miami will close it out.
I agree with what you guys say. The Knicks don't have firepower to win 3 in a row. And before we get to Lakers Warriors, the other battle in the West is Suns Nuggets. What a difference 2 nights make. On Monday, our notes say no CP3, no problem. Well, come Wednesday, playing in Denver is a big problem for the Suns. They got rolled. Jokic was amazing. Triple-double. KD got tech. Obviously in frustration. The Suns just don't appear to have enough players. They have a great 1-2 punch. They have no bench. When CP3 got hurt, this is what happens when you mortgage your bench for a player, albeit the top 4 NBA players right now. So I get the gamble, but when Chris Paul got hurt, these kind of games happen. Raj, I do expect, I'll see if you agree with me, I do expect Phoenix to win in Phoenix. But Game 7 in that altitude with that short roster, I just don't think they have it in them.
So I think it's done. They announced CP3 is out for Game 6. Ayton's questionable, but Ayton showed that he's got no heart. It took superhuman efforts from Devin Booker to win by 7 and to win by 5, respectively. He shot 20 for 25, 80% from the field, and 14 for 18, 78% from the field. Historical numbers in scoring 40 points per game to barely beat that team. Cameron Payne is not CP3. Yeah, he gets a lot of high percentage looks because of Durant, but it's obvious Durant is not the same shooter without a true point guard. And I thought this series was 5 max. I was shocked it went 6, but then again, I've never seen somebody go 20 for 25 from the guard position. So barring another superhuman effort from Devin Booker, I have no idea how the Suns, without a bench, without CP3, and probably without Ayton, can hang with an experienced, deep Denver team.
Just real quick, if you're the Lakers, who do you want to see?
Yeah, I want to see I want to see not Golden State, because that means they win the series.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying if they assume they win, who do you want to see?
I hate doing that because you're up 3-1 against the greatest shooting team of all time. But at this point,
we're not on the show for what you hate doing. We're on the show for what you're asked to be doing.
See Phoenix just because of, if you can somehow, that would mean you get past Clay and Steph, then theoretically you can get past that back court and handle the front court of Phoenix easier than the Joker.
All right, Brandon. We thought this was going to be a series. It looks like the Nuggets may be in serious control. Any chance the Suns can rattle off 2 games in a row? The Game 7 in Denver is the one that I just can't see that happening.
Yeah, I can't see that happening either, dude. There was a couple games, I can't remember, maybe it was Game 3 that Denver won, and I thought for sure Suns were going to pull it out, and they didn't. And I mean, they just have no answer for the Joker. I mean, he was second in MVP this year or whatever. I mean, this dude, now his defense is not as great as AD, but I mean, he can shoot from any position almost, and he's just dominant in the paint, and they just don't have an answer for him. And you watch this matchup and you see KD and Booker on the other side, and you think they should dominate, but it just has not been the case. I don't have the stats up, but I don't think they've been shooting tremendously well outside of Booker's, superhuman game that Raj said. But
yeah, well, it's almost like a flashback, right? Like, oh yeah, 3 points are worth more than 2. But if you can consistently score 2-point baskets and you have a guy that can do it almost every time down the court, I'll take that consistency over at a higher percentage over.
For sure.
A 1 more point short at a lower percentage. And it's kind of going back to the basics of basketball.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, what does this do to KD's legacy? He's moved around team after team, and this was supposed to be, when he got on this team, it was like, oh yeah, I mean, they're going to dominate. And now, what's going on with this? That's an interesting topic.
That's a great question. Obviously, he has 2 championships, right? 2. He's got 2. He won with 2 with the Warriors.
Yes, I believe so.
And he's been on the Nets, which was a disaster. He's been on Oklahoma City, which was a super talented team.
Yeah.
And then this
Harden,
team,
Westbrook. Yeah.
He may go down as, and I don't know if this is a necessarily fair comparison, but this is what first came to my mind. Obviously, he's better than Charles Barkley, but kind of a weirdly talented person. You don't make 7-footers that shoot, or I guess, Tom, let me ask you this. I have trouble answering this question. Where does KD compare with Dirk Nowitzki?
Ooh. Well, I mean, Dirk,
because they're both freaks. They're
right.
Dirk won 1, but with one team. KD won 2 with a super team.
Well, you look at how Dirk played. I think Dirk was. He would take you out to the 3-point line and he would bang you inside. So I'm not too sure if KD's doing that too much. Similar game. maybe you give it to Dirk by a minuscule for his ability to play on all sides, score from any point on the court. But then again, KD's a little more athletic, and when he was healthy, he was driving the lane a little bit more. But I mean, I think Nowitzki's a slightly different category, being that he was a center but could shoot like a 2, so that gave him the advantage.
If you have to rank them, who are you ranking higher?
Oh man, that's tough. I'll go Dirk. I'll go Dirk.
Okay, going Dirk.
Go Dirk.
Brandon, you agree?
I do, for one reason. There's obviously some behind the scenes locker room issues going on with KD because he keeps bouncing around. And a guy of his athleticism and talent, 7'2" guy that could shoot the lights out, he's not making these teams better. Like, look at the Warriors. They're still winning without him. Like, he is not really that big of a contribution.
He was the best
He's very
player on
guard,
that
though.
team.
It's like, all right, let KD get his 30 or whatever, and he's not going to pass the ball. Like, you can control everything else. All he is a spectacle out there, in my opinion. He's not a team player. He has trouble, obviously, because he keeps bouncing around. Like, no, I've lost a lot of respect for KD, especially, they're going to lose this series. And, like, now what team's he going to go to? Like, he's going to want another trade.
All right, Raj, what do you think? So, and this guys, this is a impromptu topic. We don't have stats handy. This is just kind of off of our gut what we're thinking. We had not planned on this topic. Raj, Dirk versus KD.
In any great player in NBA history, to me, the bottom line is, do you make your teammates better? Do you make your team better? When you're young, that doesn't happen, but you grow into that. Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Dirk. You notice KD is not and never has been part of that equation. He's never made anyone better but Kevin Durant. That's not to say that he's selfish, but his skills are unique. And they're very ISO. They're very one-on-one. They're very wide open. He doesn't really create for others. He does in the sense that, yeah, Booker's going for 48 and getting high percentage shots because he's getting some attention, but so does Booker, and it's unintentional. Durant is not a guy that makes, the kid coming out of college, the Lonnie Walker, like LeBron has done better. Durant is Kevin Durant, and he is what he is, but Dirk is somebody you build a franchise around. This is Durant's 4th team. There's a reason for that. Dirk played on one team his entire career.
Okay. All right. Y'all are convincing me. All right. So this is interesting. All right. But so follow-up question. There's always a follow-up when you get to the NBA. Brandon, and this is not it's not necessarily a fair question, basketball question. Who wins one-on-one?
One-on-one?
Yeah.
Again, KD and Dirk.
Who gets the ball first?
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
Dirk's also got 100 pounds on it.
That's probably, like,
who wins horse is a better question.
That's tough because, all right, if KD will shoot the fadeaway on Dirk and not try to take him to the I'd probably say KD one-on-one. But again, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a freak. But his skill set is solo. Like Raj said, and I said, he doesn't make teams better. And you can plan for that.
That wasn't the answer. Tom, or wasn't question. Tom,
I said that. I said Dirk or KD. I said KD.
I'm going to say Dirk because of the slight size advantage. And you see in those clips that he was able to just kind of body his way down, kind of manhandle some of these guys. So I think having the size advantage gives him that slight edge. I think the same as giving him the slight edge over overall better player.
Raj, who wins one-on-one?
they're both pretty similarly built, believe it or not. Dirk's probably got like 10, 15 on him. Durant's better off the dribble. Dirk's better under pressure and a better overall shooter. They both have the same fade that Durant copied from Dirk. It's a gross question. I don't know. If somebody's calling fouls, if they're calling their own fouls, then Durant, because he's more of a, excuse the misogynistic term, bitch. And he would call fouls where Dirk wouldn't.
Did you not learn anything from Bob Huggins?
What's that?
Did you not learn anything from Bob Huggins?
Hey, I didn't call out a religion or say a.
How good did those Seattle SuperSonics uniforms
colloquially speaking?
Oh, I know.
No, I just go Dirk because he's a lot tougher. Durant is a.
So this one's easier for me than who's better, y'all. My instinct was, KD's better, but y'all convinced me that maybe in the NBA, Dirk may be better. 1-on-1 though, KD wins just because y'all are all right. They're almost the same player. They both shoot fadeaway. They're both tall, shoot fadeaways. You can't block either shot.
One knee up fadeaways, by the way.
KD can get around for a layup if he needed one. So I'll take that as a tiebreaker. Going from great players to great names and great legacy, Raj, your USC Trojans had a big week. Not only at the time of us planning this, they got Bronny James, who's a 4-star, obviously out of LA where his dad lives, but also transfer for DJ Rodman, who is the famed Dennis Rodman's son, who's played 4 years at Washington State. That is 2 big pickups for the Trojans. Kind of talk about you're on multiple list boards or message boards, whatever they're called. And what's the mood around USC, and why do you think Bronny picked USC? We're short on time, so let's take the obvious. They live in California and it's staying home.
It's just we compare Tennessee basketball and USC basketball so many times, and just to have haters is awesome. It means we're relevant. It means we're living rent-free in people's heads. Bronny wants to carve his own path. He's known forever. He's not his dad. He's grown up in the age of social media with 7.4 million Instagram followers. DJ's the same thing, dude. Their dads were generational. They are different kids. They're team-oriented, and they're really well-raised, intelligent kids who have a lot of the same God-given talents that their parents had, but a lot of the parental given talents. They were taught a lot of things. They'll never be their dads, but when you go to USC, you know you're going to be a part of a team. You know you're going to play defense first. Rodman knows he's not going to start. He started when he was healthy at Washington State, and at 6'6", he averaged about 6 boards per game. He's a tough, dirty work kid. He's just one of those guys that fills out a roster that you need to have a good team. Guy like San Diego State had, like you guys have, that USC has never had. And I think they're just buying in. And it's not UCLA for a reason. It's their own path. It's a different one.
And you kind of talk about carving your own path and intelligence and those kind of things. And for people who, if we have younger listeners who don't know and think Dennis Rodman is a guy with a tie-dyed hair and just was an attention seeker, you want to talk about a brilliant basketball mind who understood angles, understood arches, and would put himself, when a shot would go up, he would know within a statistical probability where that ball was going to end up and put himself in that situation to rebound. You're talking about a 6'8" guy who led the league in rebounds, I think roughly around 10 times, which is insane in that NBA where it was jump shooters and 7-footers everywhere.
And people killing each other underneath. And a guy that was an NAIA guy initially who, like Scottie Pippen, grew like 8-9 inches, but always studied the game, would work out till 3 a.m. in the morning after a game, just non-stop. But he studied the game.
And Raj, I'm gonna stick on you this. What does this do for people who don't know? USC, as as much as they are the dominant football program, the basketball program has been a little lackluster. They've gotten some buzz here lately. Um, what does this do to the program, the ticket sales? You obviously have LeBron there. LeBron's going to be at every game, every home game he can be at. And then you're going to have his celebrity friends. Is it going to, I'm not saying it's going to surpass, but it's going to put pressure on UCLA and where everyone's going on these game nights.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, for the first time ever, USC will probably be on SportsCenter every night, good or bad. UCLA won't. Now, LeBron and Dennis Rodman have the whole like, well, I don't want to interfere and I don't want to steal his spotlight thing. But, you know, just by name recognition alone, especially Bronny, who's had an Instagram since he was like 8, it brings a whole new spotlight to the program. You know, they got the #1 recruit in the country and Isaiah Collier. It's rare for young teams and all freshmen to, unlike like the Calipari team with AD and those guys, it's not going to be a national championship, but it's going to be a good team. They're going to play defense and, you know, they're a Sweet 16, Elite 8 team. And that's cool, man. I mean, for us, it's a program changer.
You killed my next question. Cause I was like, because we and you and I talk all the time, the comparisons of Vols, Trojans, as you said. Mm-hmm. Oh, Vols fans are already, hey, it's Final Four or bust or fire Rick Barnes. Is that the mood in LA?
By the idiots, just the same way, like the people that suddenly are like, oh, we got Bronny. We got Rodman's kid national championship. We lost in the first round. Like USC is top 4 in the last like 5 years of games won in the regular season in basketball. I don't give a shit what happened in the tournament. I never thought that was the case. That would ever be the case. There would Duke, like Kentucky, Tennessee, and like somebody else. Like the idiots are like, well, what have we really done? An Elite 8 at USC, which happened in the bubble, is amazing. And no, if somebody says fire Enfield, I immediately know that they're an absolute dumb shit.
Yep. That's how it is in Tennessee. All right. So moving on to the other big sport of the weekend was the ponies. Yours truly wanted a little bit of change. I'm not sure if I don't think I gave that for my bet you're nuts, but sorry if I didn't. But yeah, it was overall. Tom, where did you watch? And then what did you think of the race?
We were watching it outside. We got some nice weather, so the speakeasy door was open, so we watched it from there. Thought it was awesome. Thought it was a great race. Bunched up for the most part. My horse, Two Phils, unfortunately, almost came down with it. But yeah, it was close down to the wire. Mage, about halfway through, I was watching with Rich, and I told him, I said, this horse here is making a move. About halfway through, he was really kind of doing what the winner did last year, kind of wiggling his way through. And then that last stretch, he just took over, and it was exciting. So 15-1 odds, Mage comes through with the win. So I mean, it's exciting. It's a lot of glitz and glamour, a lot of hoopla, but for 2 minutes, I don't think the race lasted 2 minutes this year. I went in and told the wife, I said, "Oh boy, that was a close race. My guy almost won," and she's like, "It's over already?" So yeah, it's a quick race, but it was pretty exciting.
Man, that's a layup joke. I was gonna say, how often do you hear that?
I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and
got his cock clean.
Yeah.
Brandon, where'd you watch? What'd you think?
I didn't watch. Unfortunately, I was at a concert. I was at a concert. I was supposed to go to a Derby party, but we had a JBT.
Wait, are you a closet Swiftie? Were you at the Taylor Swift concert?
No, I was at John Butler Trio in the Caverns. So my wife, that's one of her favorite bands, mine as well. So we went there. So I didn't watch, but I was kind of keeping up with it a little bit, and I had money on two fills as well. It just another shocker, it's kind of like the March Madness or something. You always have your favorites, but it seems like they don't typically win. It's always someone coming from behind. So it seemed to be a pretty good race. But something interesting I was reading on Mage was, I think there's like 10 or 15 guys that like own the horse or something.
Yeah. Afterwards, there's a big group. They all bought like percentages into it.
Yeah. And then I also read something like there's this app or platform that you can almost buy shares of like athletes or horses or things like that of that nature. And there's quite a bit of money on Mage in that as well. So I think that's an interesting, interesting topic.
All right. So, we're running a little short on time. Raj, do you have anything to add to the Kentucky Derby, or just go to bet your nuts?
I mean, I'm not a PETA guy per se, but the amount of deaths this week, I mean, it's part of the race, and it just flipping horses, breaking necks, and quote anomalies, which was used to refer to, I think, 4 or 5 of the deaths. I believe there were 7 in total during the week. I know the weather didn't help, but yikes, man. Like it's just kind of cruel, just the sport in general. And, I understand these are assets, but wow, it just came to light. That was an inordinate amount of deaths for 1 week.
The only thing that pays better than a Kentucky Derby horse that doesn't win
is the sperm.
The insurance policy on a Kentucky Derby horse.
Touche.
Just saying. There's a whole.
They are quick to be killed.
There is a documentary about this and about the insurance world of horses. I can't remember what it. Maybe Netflix, Hulu. I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but it's worth the watch.
Interesting.
Essentially, in a nutshell, there was a guy who went all over the country killing horses for the insurance money. So, anyways, but I'll let you guys watch the documentary,
folks. Check it out. That's interesting.
So, it is now time for the world famous, guaranteed, almost to get you rich. Hit it, Tom.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
All right, here we go. So we're picking a bet that's going to come over at some point from this show to the next show. Obviously, futures, we only have so many. But we're going to start off. Raj, what do you got?
I'm taking both road teams tomorrow in the NBA, and that's Boston -2.5. Actually, as the favorite, I think they win that game outright. They had a clunker. They lost by 12 at home. That's not going to happen again. They're the better team. They've kind of given away 2 games. I think they win in Philly, a team who has not yet paid their dues, and they win by more than 2.5. I'm definitely on the Nuggets, who are right now catching 3 points. They're the better team. No CP3. Booker probably isn't going to shoot 95%. So take Denver. If you're going to pick one of them, take Denver +3.
All right. Shane, what do you got?
Man, I agree. You took mine. I had Denver on this one for sure. and I had one tonight, but obviously we ran long. We started a little late, so.
Oh, that's why you're rushing me to get your nuts in.
I did like the Lakers. I got them at +8 tonight to close it out. I know everyone's on the Warriors, and I get it. The Warriors are probably going to go off. Steph will probably go for 50 or something crazy, but we'll see how serious the Lakers are right now. And I would love for them to just shut it down and not let it linger and take it back to LA to end it in Game 6.
What? Wait, hold on. Did you just say you like the Lakers +8?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I just want to read a text message thread real quick. I said Lakers +7 tonight seems like free money. Brandon says feels like a trap. NBA wants this series to continue.
It's exactly right. I know. Well, then it moved to +8, and I was like, it's not a trap.
Okay.
Let's go.
I was like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get my NASCAR pick in before Tom tries to steal my thunder. I'm going Ross Chastain. There was a fight. He punched a guy in the face last weekend. He is. I think he's going to be angry. He's been a driver. He's been a top 5 driver all year long. He's +1100. I like those odds. They're in Darlington. Logano's won in the past, but he's not racing well this year. Yeah, here's Chastain right now punching the guy in the face. I think he's going to come out pissed off, and I think he's going to be ready. Great punch, by the way. And then
don't put your hands on somebody if you don't want to get punched.
Yeah,
come on.
So I'm going Ross Chastain. Tom?
Well, you didn't steal my pick. I got 2 of them. I'm going to go tomorrow night. I'm going to opposite Raj. I think Philly closes it out. I'm surprised that they're the underdog at home, but I'm sure there's logic behind it. But I do like the fact that they're at home. They're going to close it out. So give me the money line +120. And then Sunday at Darlington, give me Denny Hamlin to go back-to-back. He's won 3 of the last 10 races at Darlington. He's +600. Go number 11, the FedEx.
Hey, whenever you can get the second favorite at +600, that's a good bet. All right, quickly, guys, we'll go to our final thoughts, final words. Don't want to take up too much time, but Tom, we'll start with you.
Oh, I want to talk about real quick the Detroit Tigers. Second place in the lowly AL Central, but for a team that was not supposed to do anything this year, they've had their best start in the last 4 years. They're 7-3 in the last 10 games. Eduardo Rodriguez, his last 5 starts, he's 4-0 with an ERA of .25, 5 walks and 38 strikeouts. He's been lights out. He pitched 7 complete today against the Garden Indians. They won 5-0, but it's just been fun to watch. It's a team that no one really gave them a chance in Hades to do anything, and here we are. They're 2 games under 500. They're 2 games out of first place, and going into mid-May, and the weather will get warmer, and there's a bunch of young guys they've put together off the scrap heap that are making noise. And Detroit Tiger baseball has been fun to watch. Hell, I'm even wearing the jersey. So go Tigers.
All right, Brandon.
I just want a quick note on the NBA playoffs. Some of the calls on the ref side, just be a little bit more consistent. I know they're trying to let them play, but it seems like when a team's down, they're letting the offense drive and bury their shoulder into a guy, which is clearly an offensive foul. And they're kind of getting away with a lot of that on the lower teams. So I'd like to see a little more consistency on that.
All right, Raj.
Yeah, that's been my issue with the NBA in general, the status-driven calls. But oddly enough, I don't feel like that's been like the case in this Lakers and Warriors series, which I was just going to talk about the chess match. It's been crazy, man. Like game 1, AD is ISO as 20 and 20 at the half, and game 2, Golden State calls all these switches, pulls them up in high pick and rolls, and they go off. Game 3, LeBron doesn't take a shot in the first quarter, first time in 275 playoff games, which is a record. He's a facilitator. They force Golden State. The Lakers go between switching on everything on defense to hopefully getting over top of the screen, but Golden State is generally masterful at that. If you ever go underneath the screen against Golden State, you're dead. The Lakers have been much better. Game 4, because they got blown out by 30 in game 2, the Lakers pulled everyone, and guys like Lonnie Walker got quality time. Conversely, Golden State left their starters in. Lonnie Walker comes in game 4 and scores 15 points on, 6 of 7 shooting, and looks like he's been in the league for 30 years. So every game's been back and forth. Right now it's 17-5. Started out just the way I thought. Golden State starting hot from threes. We'll see if the Lakers can make them play their half-court game. But it's just a crazy chess match in a great series.
Thanks. So my final words are these. This show was a creation by our buddy Randall, QB1. But look up, and at least to my top left, you'll see Tom's screen right here. Every single new person, every single advancement we've got, Tom has worked his ass off. Randall worked his ass off to get us to where he got us, and we are so thankful. And Tom's working his ass off to make it better and better and better. And so, Tom, we say thank you a lot on text, but thank you.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to do any of that.
No.
But yeah, thank you, and thank you, Randall, and just thank you both. And yet we're trying to keep getting better and better. So, but thank you all for everyone's hard work.
What is all that stuff?
I'm glad I could be a part.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we will we'll keep you guys updated. Maybe off next week for a just a reset, but we'll keep everyone posted on our social media. If you can like, subscribe, do all those little things down below that help us and help you connect with us, we will really appreciate it. And then but we'll be back either next week or the week after with we have the PGA Championship. Is that what's coming up? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Tiger's not playing. We got some. Right. We'll have some more Live versus PGA drama, NBA playoffs updates, and then NFL schedule, and then whatever other gambling scandals are going to break out. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you all for being here. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation. Cheers.